and then Genco will generate. Transmission will not be able to take what it generates. Maybe where transmission takes it, the disco, they are saying the disco party, they cannot distribute it to the people because their transformers are not working. Communities have to buy transformers. You and I have to buy, make contribution to buy transformer and pay for meters. We have to pay for the meters. Like me going to a petrol station, I want to buy fuel, I have to pay for the meter to supply me the fuel. Meanwhile, when I pay for the meter, I have no right to tamper with the meter. Something I pay for, something is mine. There are a lot of fraudulent things. Things are not right. We need to revisit all those things. And maybe when we get it right, the cost may be lower than what we're experiencing. Why?
Let me play the devil's advocate here. They will tell you that
the profit is too high.
They are there for business. They're there for profit.
Yes, they're present. Sometimes when profit is too high, it's criminal.
But who determines when it is too high? Who determines when it is too high? Is the government not monitoring?
Is government not collecting taxes from them? Who determines? If the government cannot determine that, why is the government determining how much it should levy me, how much it should tax me? Now my body that is strong. Now, are the government to be strong in the hands of the masses when it comes to the masses? These are the things we need to look to.
Let's begin this conversation first taking our quote from Henry Kissinger, who once said, "America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests." Same thing with everywhere. All right, my next quote will be from Thomas Jefferson, who once said, "Peace, commerce, and honest friendship with all nations, entangling alliances with none." Let's see how this quote relates to what we'll be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We are reaching you from KAFTAN's televisions today here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabel Orji. Today we'll turn our attention to quite a number of things. We'll talk about the state of the nation, and then we'll also look at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 1 year term or administration, how far it has been with regards to oil, with regards to gas, and other economic matters. Then we'll go straight to Okwama community. Now we've got a story saying that the military have been sent to leave that community. But then let's find out the ripple effect, how it started, and what exactly happened and what should be done going forward. My guest on the show today is Sleek Oshare, who is an oil and gas expert, and he is also the convener of Alternative Approach to Development of the Niger Delta. Great to have you on the show again today, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been quite a while.
Yeah, it is.
How has Nigeria been treating you?
Well, like every other person, I always adjust myself for the words. Believing that tomorrow will be better than today.
Yes, I remember that's always your philosophy.
Yeah, tomorrow will be better than today.
Right,
yeah.
Great. Thank you for coming on the show again.
Thank you.
All right, so now let's first of all start. We'll talk about quite a number of things, but let's start with, even though some people will say that it's not yet 1 year, but very soon, by May 29th, we're looking at few days now, we'll be looking at 1 year of this administration. How far would you actually say that they have done so far with regards to the economy, looking at fuel, right from the day of fuel subsidy is gone, and today we are looking for fuel. We're queuing looking for the fuel. Then how would you rate their activities with regards to gas, and all of that, even electricity? Sleek Oshare, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I think everybody, including me, will attribute the present hardship we are going through to the removal, or I would rather say partial removal of subsidy, fuel subsidy.
What do you mean by partial removal?
I say partial removal because after the first step of total removal, I think the drop in the Naira, I think I can prove it, but I think with the drop in the value of the Naira may have caused the fuel situation to be higher than we are actually seeing, but the government wouldn't have the courage to adjust accordingly, because they have also seen the effect on the people and the uproar that will come with it. That's why I say partial, because I'm very conversant with this oil thing.
Right.
Two, do I support removal of subsidy? Yes, I do. But then, like I've already said, oil is a commodity that has three phases. It's an economic item, it's political. A social item, it's a political item.
Right.
And you need to handle those three combinations very well together. Now, I have also said we cannot fully get out of this quagmire if our local refineries are not functioning. And up to now, the local refineries are not functioning. So it is difficult for us to be in control of appropriate pricing of the fuel. If we have all the refineries functioning at least 70 to 80% capacity utilization, we will be able to get our fuel even without subsidy at a lower price than we are today. And I think we will get our oil at about 200 naira per liter, and everybody will feel comfortable about that. Then coming to electricity, it's quite difficult to say. One, I remember some years back when we have a very fantastic governor in my state that extended electricity to the rural areas of Delta State, almost all the rural areas of Delta State. And I remember a day I went to my mother's village and I looked at the economy of people and I laughed. I said, yes, electricity is desirable, but the economy of these people cannot afford it, except the government makes it cheap for them to be able to afford it. Electricity, energy everywhere in the world is an expensive thing. The government we have should bear that in mind, because if the people don't have access to electricity, enough access to energy, then the productivity in this country will drop. And if productivity drops, then what we are trying to achieve will not reach it. Therefore, to let the people produce at maximum level, you must make electricity available to them at affordable rate, no matter how much it costs. It's just like when we send our children to school. It is not comfortable for us to send the children to school, but we have to sacrifice to send them to school, so that by the time they graduate and they get job, they come back to pay back to us. So the government must make electricity available to the people. And when you think, and when I was hearing of band 8 banders, and we were categorizing some areas at band A, you think about Maitama, you think about Ikoyi, you think about all the people living in Maitama. They are not band A categories of people, because they are houseboys, they are house girls, they are gardeners, stay there, servicing the people you think are band A. Now, if the band A people who you think they are the elites, you charge them so much, what happened to them? They transfer the bills, the pays down to their households, to the common people, to the taxi driver, to the Okada rider. So in other words, you are not actually taxing the rich to pay the poor, because the rich people, they will just simply pass it down. We've seen it in hospitals crying out now. When a hospital published that they pay 25 million naira for, do you think if the hospital must exist, what does it do? It transfers the bill down to the common people who are coded. So these are things we must use our head for, and balance in such a way that the rich cry, but they don't cry often, and they don't cry hard. So whatever attack you give to them, it comes down, you're actually attacking the poor. So the government needs to balance that. You need to get productivity going by making electricity, gas, fuel available to the people, and you find another way around to get it also. Until you get those things right, you are not going to do it, because there's no way the minister is going to cry tomorrow that he cannot pay electricity bill. Does he actually pay from his own pocket? If he pays from his pocket, it must go somebody responsible to it. So whatever policy the government put in place for electricity, for fuel, for gas, it must have the downtrodden people, the masses as we call it. It must have the masses. In Nigeria for the past 20 or 25 years, the middle class has been totally eroded. So we simply have the upper class and the lower class now. And meanwhile, if you have the upper class and the lower class in any society, you cannot develop, because it's the middle class that keeps a country running. Is the middle class. So the middle class is a class that you must pamper, that must pay attention to, because it's that class that interfaces with the two opposite classes, and that class that actually carry out the major productivity and gives hope to the lower class. The middle class gives hope to the lower class, because the lower class, when they look at the middle class, they aspire to go to the middle class. And from the middle class, you recruit the governing class. Because it's from that class that you see efficiency. You see people who have actually executed their own. So you recruit your leadership of governance from the middle class. But if you are annihilating the middle class, what are you doing to society? You are destroying society. So I think the government, the present government as it is now, and as we have always cried, should reconsider this. They should reconsider this and put that and let that law moderate whatever policy, whatever economic policy, whatever political policy they are going to put in place to run a successful and a developed country.
All right, so I'm going to ask you two questions based on what you've actually stated. I hear you say that the government should make electricity affordable for the people.
Yeah.
So is 250 naira, 25 naira, or maybe 208 naira, and some kobo, is that affordable?
No, 200 and something. I think the government for now should make do with about 70 naira per
kilowatt.
Per kilowatt.
Oh,
we could cope with that for it. Even if we cope with that, because now they're also supposed to be a little balancing, a little balancing of take a little from the people so that you can lower the amount you are subsidizing. So if you make it too high, you are taking everything for the people, which we are not taking everything. People will be disgruntled. People will not produce, and therefore will not be able to pay. And people will jump the lines. Even when it was lower, people will already jump the lines. So you are going to give more room to jump lines. That is one. Then another aspect of it is the higher the price you pay on it, the more they will vandalize your properties.
Now that's the issue, because I remember talking to one of the AEDC GM, and then he said that we need to increase the tariff. Why? Because some of these their plans and that he talked about how capital intensive electricity is.
It is.
So it's if you look at from the generation down to the distribution and all, that it takes so much money, and then the distribution they're going through a whole lot, and then with regards to, like you talked about, those who vandalize and those who bypass and steal electricity and all, and then he was giving reasons why electricity tariff is even lower. Just like the minister said, that Nigeria is even one of the people that are even paying
we pay the least in the world.
The least in the world.
We pay the least. Electricity in Nigeria is the cheapest.
But I just hear you say you should be paying 70 naira. 70
naira. I said 70 naira. It could go up to 100, but not more than that. What I'm trying to say that we are a society where our economic ability cannot afford most of these things. So there's going to be there should be an era where we have to sacrifice to raise the productivity to such a level before we can raise all those things. That's what I'm saying. What is the minimum wage? What is minimum wage? 30,000, 50,000, that's minimum wage. That's what we pay. So I'm saying there's going to be a balance. There must be a long period of transition. I know in the UK, in the house there, we don't put two bulbs on at the same time.
So
two bulbs on.
Sleek Oshare, let me remind you what the minister, the power minister, said, even though he apologized. You just leave your refrigerator and your things on and all of that. Are we also a problem? Are we also our own problem here? Because if some people just leave the house and then their electricity are on. Is that a problem?
It's not even really a house. When I drive down the road, people sell electrical materials. You see, about 30 bulbs are on. And they laugh. You see it every day.
Right.
30 bulbs are on the road. Say electrical man, they don't have prepaid meter. They don't even pay. We waste this thing quite all right. But like I said, these are collateral damages, and those should not be used to treat everybody. That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay. In UK, in the house there, we don't put two bulbs on at the same time. If you are going to the toilet, you switch the light in the parlor off. If you are going to the kitchen, you switch the light in the parlor. So one bulb on at a time. And in fact, there are even televisions now. And the television we have in the house now is that while you are watching the television is also watching you. How? How does it watch you? Your eyes, it's turning your eyes. When you fall asleep, 5 minutes after, television switches off.
Ah, awesome.
All to save energy. Energy is expensive everywhere. Even when they try to leave fossil energy to solar, you see how expensive. They have not even been able to standardize it anywhere, not even in China, not even in Japan, not even in the US. It's still be complemented. It's still complementary the fossil energy. It's expensive, but we need to balance. We're a developing society. A developing society is an expensive. The government has to bear a lot of expenses to bring the people up to a standard.
All right.
That's what we're saying.
All right. So one of the papers that we read this morning stated that coming from the TUC, what they were talking about, they were having the issues about the cybersecurity levy. So then the TUC says that Tinubu's policy has stifled and crippled business in the last 1 year. Do you agree with that?
I can't accept that. I can't accept that general statement. It's a statement meant for negotiation.
Ah, really?
It's a statement I was saying. It's too generalistic that you can't really prove it. You see, businesses in Nigeria for the past 30 years have been going down. So you can't say just 1 year of Tinubu. That's why businesses left. Bata left Nigeria long ago. Michelin left Nigeria long ago. Dunlop left Nigeria long ago. Sanyo left long ago. There are many. All those battery, how do you call Berek battery, Exides. Many of those from Cable Meta, they left Nigeria long ago. So we can't just say, oh, that's for business. No, that statement is too sweeping, and I will subscribe to that. Yeah. All right. But cyber security, yes, we should talk about. I have known today, since last week when it came out, just this week when it came out, I've been thinking, do we really need it? Do we need that levy? One, if we need that levy, should we as much? Do we need as much as that? 5 naira for how much? For 10,000? And everybody do it? Do we need that? When the incomes are still very low? When we are still badly to make up, to cover the big hole that fuel subsidy removal has created in our pocket, do we still need that again? No, I don't think we need that levy. Even if we must leave it, why 5 naira? Why not even have a kobo self? Why not just a kobo as a token so that at least we get something back? You see, when you over-levy people, when you over-tax people, you are killing the people, you are killing the economy, and therefore you will have negative returns. That is not what you want. Don't tax the people don't tax the people to death. Don't tax the people to a state of despair. Don't tax the people to a state of hatred. Don't tax the people to a state of where people hate you. Don't. You must give something in order to get going. You tax it, you tax that, you tax that, transit, you tax. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. Find another way of increasing productivity before you do that. Look at me. I can give myself an example, and there are millions like me across the country. I retired 18 years ago. I'm still on the same pension of that 18 years ago till now. Not 1% increase. And there are people like me all over. There's no program for senior citizens in this country. There's no program for very deprived widows in this country. There's no good program for disabled in this country. And when you talk about palliative, the palliative you not give 10 bags of rice to me, and you say you're giving me palliative. What will 10 bags of rice do for me for the whole year? And how many people will that 10 bags of rice get to? Of course, it's never even up to 10 bags of rice. I'm just giving an example. So those palliatives, who do they favor? They favor again the ruling class. They supply, they buy, they supply, they distribute. To who? What is the palliative? The money meant for palliative. Put the money to something else.
Something else like what? Because we also always talk about social
security. The social security for people, then part of it for electricity subsidy you're even talking about. Part of it to the electricity subsidy.
But then I hear some people say that why are you subsidizing for the same people that you have already privatized to? That was the issue. Especially the discos. Why paying subsidy?
The disco, we have all found out, even right from the time of Buhari, that the agreement for the disco was wrong in the first place. It was wrong in the first place. You were giving something in one hand and at the same time taking it in the other hand. We've had it with Nigeria Airways before. When you saw the aircraft, the airway to somebody, and you still give the person 300 million naira to help the person, and the person, we all know the person diverted the money into any asset. So the disco thing, if you look at the laws, that the agreement they signed was wrong in the first place, was a fraud. There's a fraud. They need to revisit the agreements from Genco to Disco to which other one? Genco to transmission to Disco. Before we start going to disco parties. It's all fraudulent right from the beginning. All fraudulent transmission, and then Genco will generate. Transmission will not be able to take what it generates. Maybe when transmission takes it, the disco, they are saying the disco party, they cannot distribute it to the people because their transformers are not working. Communities have to buy transformers. You and I have to buy, make contribution to buy transformer and pay for meters. We have to pay for the meters. Like me going to a petrol station, I want to buy fuel, I have to pay for the meter to supply me the fuel. Meanwhile, when I pay for the meter, I have no right to tamper with the meter. Something I pay for, something is mine. There are a lot of fraudulent things are not right. We need to revisit all those things. And maybe when we get it right, the cost may be lower than what we're experiencing.
All right, let's see.
Recently, we have been reading the banks making profit of 250 billion. 150 billion. You read the bank, read the papers, the bank. 250 billion, 150 billion. And then they increase charges. Why would the bank make 150 billion at the expense of the people? Why?
Let me play the devil's advocate here. They will tell you that
the profit is too high.
They are there for business. They are there for profit.
Yes, they're prison. Sometimes their profit is too high. It's criminal.
But who determines when it is too high? Who determines when it is too high? Is the government not monitoring?
Is government not collecting taxes from them? Who determines? If the government cannot determine that, why is the government determining how much it should levy me, how much it should tax me? Now my body that is strong. Now, are the government to be strong in the hands of the masses when it comes to the masses? These are the things we need to look to. These are in the US and other countries, when the company gets huge, the company by force has to apply part of it. You have to show how much you have contributed in social security, in social uplifting of the people. Otherwise, your tax raises to high heaven. In order for you to reduce your tax, you have to apply something back into the education of the people, into the medical situation of the people, in order to enjoy good taxes.
Right.
Are we doing that here? That's what I'm saying. Some of those need to be applied back to subsidize energy for people.
Let's shift our attention to other matters. Let's talk about the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, which has actually brought quite a number of discrepancy arguments from even the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who says that the president's son has some interest because he's among the board of the Shaburi company, and some other person are arguing the fact that even the bid itself has shaky legs. It wasn't done in the right way. And then some other persons are here, the common sense senator coming out to say that that highway, that project is laudable. Please, let's forget about all those disgruntled people complaining. The disgruntled people, whenever they finish complaining, please, when this is done, allow them to pass that long route instead of passing this new and short route. Let's get your thoughts with regards to that highway project.
Yeah. First of all, with all due respect, the former vice president, Waziri Atiku Abubakar, has no moral right to question anything there. Has he? He should look back to his own records. Privatization, which he shared, who brought most of those things. He has no right to challenge anybody. And I dare say, whoever has faced an allegation of misappropriation of public treasury, public property, has no right in this country to criticize another person, to question another person.
So he who comes with equity must come with clean hands.
Yes, Atiku cannot do that. Has Atiku challenged Obasanjo about what Obasanjo said about him? It's written in the book. Books that will last for over 100 years, people will still be reading that book. Has he challenged that? He has no moral right to check that, to make any space or to question anybody on that. I leave him at that. Then two, I also noticed when certain projects are going to minorities, the people from that is when some people from majority will start questioning it. This is a project going to the minority of the Niger Delta. Why are they questioning it? The only thing the question is, will we be able to complete it? That's what people should question. They shouldn't question the rationale. And meanwhile, that thing has been in the drawing book for years, even before the military came. So nobody should. When it concerns us, the Niger Delta people, that's why they will come out and challenge.
Are you seeing this as an attack to the Niger Delta?
Yes, when they're questioning it, you shouldn't do that. Let it be. I won't question for us. That could start, what we should question, would they be able to complete it? That is what should concern all of us. And I pray they complete it. When they complete it, the same people, we have had things like that before. The same people who are questioning it will be the same people who will be first to run it. Maybe by the time they haven't completed it, some of them will even be in government again. And come and claim credit. When they maybe commissioning, they come and claim credit and clap again. All of that. These are things out. So, the project, we, and I think all of us in the Niger Delta, all of us in the South, we welcome it.
Do you have a challenge with the fact that the president's son, Tinubu, is sitting on the board, like other people have complained?
That is sitting on board because their children are not on the board. So I should complain. I should not complain only when my son is on the board. How many of those people challenging it have their hands clean? That's what I'm saying. The people who are challenging, the people who are talking, and the people who don't have their hands clean. Whose daughters and children have held one position on the ground, manipulated things before. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't, like I said, I don't want to question morality or that thing or that thing. Yes, I could question it, but I don't want to join them. Those people with dirty hands, I don't want to join them to condemn anything.
All right.
They should clean their hands first. These are people who make the cause difficult even to question them, to jail them. Let them return the money first before like you said, he who comes for equity must come with clean hand. I don't want to join those people to question the morality there. If they are not there, then I could not help my view and say more man. Because my hands are clean. Anybody can probe me any day.
Let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue this interesting conversation with Sleek Oshare, who is an oil and gas expert. We'll go to the next leg of our conversation after this time out. Do join us again. He who goes to equity must always come with clean hands. That was the last word from our guest on the show today, Sleek Oshare, who is an oil and gas expert and also the convener of Alternative Approach to the Development of Niger Delta Region. Welcome again to the Conversation. We're reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabel Orji. In case you just joined us, you've actually missed out on the first part of the show, but then you can still join in the second part. And like I said, my guest is Sleek Oshare. All right, before we went on that break, we've actually talked about quite a number of things, but now let's shift our attention. Let me go back to my first question when I talked about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration 1 year after. In all of this, how would you, if in a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how would you rate this administration? And what do you seek going forward? Especially not only for only Nigerians, but for the people, the minority people, and the people of the Niger Delta region?
That's one. For once, that's one very difficult question for me to answer. I would rate difficult for me to answer in the sense that we have been completely rotten. And I do know that when you plant a seed, it doesn't grow overnight.
Right.
I also know that if you want to eat omelette, you must break eggs.
Right.
Otherwise, you won't eat omelette. So I see the period we are so far. It's a period of breaking the eggs.
Preparing to eat the omelette.
To prepare the omelette.
Okay.
I see the periods as a period of planting, or a period where we are clearing it into plant. You see, to destroy is easy, but to build is difficult. If you remember, because to build is difficult, Jesus Christ himself was charged and rebuked for saying that destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. Because people say to build is difficult. So I see this period of preparing the ground. We may not have been using the right approaches in all the spheres, but I think we are laying a foundation. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say we because I'm not a part of government. I think they are laying a foundation for other things to come. They'll be making mistakes here and there coming out in that thing. So if you want to rate the government as it is, I can rate them 5. I don't just give them 5, 6. I'm rating them 5. We raise them higher, but because of the hardship, I know how much I spend on my gen every night, so I'm getting a little bit biased on that. So I can say them 5. Don't I raise? I think they need to be given chance. They need to be supported. But we also need to tell them, no, this one is too hard. This way you have to weigh down the thing. So let not let all the levies come at the same time.
Okay.
Let's spread some of these things out. The government should be able to absorb something. Why? Take this one by the side, see the effect of that, you move forward, then you take them. If you put all the taxes up at the same time, you will kill the people. The people will be angry. The people will die. Productivity will fall. And when productivity falls, everything collapses. The people will hate you. The people will hate you. The people, there will be uproar. So spread them out and say then, there should be a phase. There should be a timeline. At this stage, we do this. Let's see the report of this.
And this 1 year, this last 1 year has not been that phase for you yet?
Yeah, we just try to get out of, try to get used to fuel price increase.
Right.
And then petrol, electricity is coming, cyber security is coming, other things coming.
Telcos are talking about this.
Telecommunication, other things are coming. No, you don't know that. I mean, by the STVs, the STV city people, no. You think that step by step and see how it goes. Step by step, the timeline should spread to, don't hurry the thing over a 1 year period. Spread them over maybe 3 years or something like that. And then, so you also win the heart of it. Then there should be the extremist on the left, the extremist on the right, and then you have a bulk of in between, at the middle, who will balance you also, so that at the time you come, when you request the people for support again, from that middle group, you can recruit a large army to support the extreme right who are going to go for you. Right. That way, I say the balancing. That's why I think they should do that. And they should listen to people. They should listen to people. Then on corruption.
Corruption.
And a lot of people have not been persecuted, have not been prosecuted and jailed. Enough money has not been recovered from the people. Enough money has not been recovered.
But let me return back.
Consequences have not come.
Let me return back to your first word. We are still in the stage of planting. If you must eat omelette, you must break eggs.
Yes.
For corruption.
Yeah.
Let me return that to you.
Yeah.
Aren't we still in the same stage of planting and then breaking the eggs?
The corruption situation has been long over the year. So we want to have land. What has made it difficult to prosecute people? Why have we not arrested some people here? Enough people. We want to see a process, because previous governments have laid the foundation for setting up the EFCC in the first place was a beginning. So we need to develop that. Up to now, we see people who we all know were corrupt, who have faced allegations of corruption, seem being appointed into government, into leadership, as if the clean people are not enough, as if we don't see the clean people in this country. Can't we search for them? These are the things. Then the laws anti-corruption laws need to be tweaked a little bit to see, and then free the regular courts from handling the static courts need to be set aside for that, because some lawyers, some senior advocates in this country have trained themselves and dedicated themselves to defending corrupt people in this country. We know them. We don't need to mention their names, and they know themselves.
You don't want to mention their name?
Maybe they can't carry me go court. I don't get power. So these are the facts. There should be certain costs set aside for corruption, and with guidelines. People need to sacrifice it. This is it. If you fail, we'll also be watching them. Not to go to the regular courts. So we know that focus is on. This is part of, laying the foundation.
All right, let's move to other matters completely different from all of this we've been talking about, because I hear you talk about military. Let's go straight to your community and talk about the Okwama and Okolaba that started as a communal clash, which now degenerated to something else, and then some armies were killed. I remember having a conversation with one of the mayor of Woboland, who happens to be the president of ex-agitators, coalition of ex-agitators in Niger Delta. And the first question he asked is that even then, the traditional leaders, they were not aware that the armies were coming, that you don't go to a person's place and then not make them aware that you are visiting. But then I asked the question, should the army tell the traditional people we are coming to your place and then seek permission on all? But let's get your thoughts with regards to all that has happened over time. And then, because I saw one of the reports or one of the headlines this morning on the Vanguard newspaper that says that the military men have been asked to leave that area. And I remember that's the ex-agitator also saying that most of their community people are inside the bush, rotting and dying inside the bush without food and shelter. Let's get your words with regards to all of this. All that happened right from the beginning till this minute.
Yes. Okwama is about 35 to 45 minutes boat ride from a town. I've never been there in my life before, but I know it's along the River Niger, or what we now call River Focados, which leads into the Atlantic Ocean. And that's my town is also along the River Niger. Okoloba is also along the river. From Okoloba to Okwama is just if you drive, we say less than 5 minutes drive. They are very close to each other.
Okay.
What we understand that they have a land dispute between the Okwama people and the Okoloba people. And the Okoloba people are said to have a very big man who could influence a lot of things, and who could bully, that's what they say. So the problem had been on. It came to a point that...
Who is this big man?
I don't know. They just say one big man there. Then It led to a clash where 2 people were killed by, they say, either by the Calabar people or something like that. And then the Okwama people said to have retaliated in a way. Then they said, like the military report said, and the people said, 17 soldiers went to Okwama. They said for peacekeeping. And then the people welcomed them, and then they discussed, and they said, we don't need to fight here. And then the soldiers wanted to go away with the chairman of the community, leader of the community, and things like that. And the people refused. We have discussed, why are you taking the people away? And the soldiers were said to be angry and shot at random. And several people died and people ran away. Later on, it was said that the soldiers who went there were killed. Nobody who killed them. But they said their corpses, mutilated, badly mutilated bodies were found by the river, by Okwama. And then the soldiers went there for reprisal that their men were killed, 17 soldiers, so painful. And 3 officers. It cost a lot to train an officer. A lieutenant colonel, 2 majors. It cost a lot to train them. These are assets of the country that were killed. So they went there in reprisal. It's a reprisal thing that I think that was the first thing that attracted everybody's attention. Now, we found out that until that moment, the police commissioner of police in the state was not aware that there was such a crisis there. The district police officer in the local government was not aware there was such a crisis there. So what beats our management is that if there's such a crisis that requires government intervention, the security units that needed to go there first should be the police.
Right. So how come they're not aware?
They're not aware. Meanwhile, the soldiers were aware. And the soldiers that went there came from the nearby local government to that place, not from the local government of Okwama. Because Okwama is in Ughelli South local government. And the soldiers who went there came from Bomandi local government. Meanwhile, Ughelli South police unit was not aware. The DPO was not aware. So, first of all, this is a civilian thing. And we have personally withstood that situation in my town. My town with the next town, we also had the land problem. And there was a clash, that people died. In my town, they have a military unit in my town. When the fighting was going on there, the soldiers in my town stayed on their own. So when it ended, we went to say, you saw fight going on. They said they were not there to interfere, and they didn't have any order to interfere. Yeah, they were in town. They just kept quiet and let it stand. It was the police that came in later on when I sent before other soldiers were sent in. So why in this case of Okwama, the first people who went there were the soldiers.
How about the Navy here?
The Navy is not involved in anything. The Navy didn't know what was going on, and not the Navy was not involved. And now when the soldier came, they burned the whole town down. You must have seen the picture.
I did.
Because the only building standing is the Anglican church building. For weeks, they didn't even allow the governor to visit the place. The press were not allowed to visit the place. Now, up till maybe to this woman, maybe now the people will start coming from the bush. Women, pregnant women, or people who went to the farm before, couldn't come back home. And so women delivered in the forest. They have been in the forest since on the 14th of March.
Oh, wow.
No access to even send relief to them. The state government could not even send relief to them. Old people, pregnant women, children, the ones that were born in the forest. No matter what happened, no life is insignificant. We sympathize with all those who died, but at least Those who died have died. But what of these ones? Are not entitled to government protection? Are not entitled to human life? To human sympathy? They be there. In the rainy season has started there. Managing the rain. Now, having leveled the place, having flattened the place, to use the word of the army, having flattened the place, what were the soldiers still doing there? First, they said the soldiers went there with unarmed, without arms. The ones that were killed. They went there without arms. Now, the one that came for reprisal said they were there to retrieve the arms. Which arm? That's a contradiction. That's a contradiction. You have said that it was an oil affair. The people who killed the soldier, you know, they're at large. You are going to search for them and pick them. If you knew them, why do you go and flatten the whole community? Even if countries at war, once you conquer a place, you don't flatten the place. And once the people surrender, you give them protection. And that's why there are stages of war. When you conquer the place, the people surrender. You don't flatten the place. You search for weapons to search for people. After that, the next set of people, you move military police there to come there, because the rich soldiers who go to war, they are usually very angry people. Then after a time, you now move mobile police, then you now move police, because you are now civilizing the place and coming to civil order. Even in fighting in another country, this your country, your community, the people who pay tax to you, the people who will vote for you, you go so hard on them. I thought by this stage, we would have got to that, we would have gotten out of that level. We have experienced in the Atudi, we have experienced it at Zaki Biam, we have experienced it at Zongo Kataf, and before then, in 1970, which most people don't remember, we have experienced it at Ugep, soon after the war. Should we experience such thing now, at this age? If we do, then we Nigerians, we should ask ourselves, which community next?
Which community next?
Yes. If we haven't learned the lesson, we should ask ourselves, which community next? Because when you throw stone in the marketplace, your mother is still there. Your mother is still there. So which community next? So this is the thing. Having flattened the place, they should have allowed these people come home. When they come in, the ones you are looking for, you could pick them from there. If they are not there, trace them to wherever they are. And let these innocent people, let these children continue their school. Let the pregnant women put to bed. Let them receive medical care. Let them rebuild the place.
So I'm going to ask you the same question. Sorry, I had to bother. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked that mayor of Uboland, because you are part of them.
Now, I'm proudly Urobo.
Yes. Now, you are also the convener of the alternative approach to the development of Niger Delta. So, I'm going to ask you this very important question that everyone has been asking. How is it possible? Or do you actually know the people, the perpetrators, or those that killed those army?
How would I know? When even the army themselves, they say they know. How would I know? First, I live in Abuja. 2, I'm not from that community. 3, I've never been involved in oil bunkering. Even the rivers, I've never plied the river because I'm scared of water, even though my town is right there. So how will I know? You're asking how will I know? I'll not be involved in it.
As a member of the community?
I'm not a member of Okwama community.
But at least you're around the area.
No, I said Okwama
35 minutes.
Is about 35 to 45 minutes boat ride. You can't access it by land, boat ride from my place. I've never been to all those areas in my life since I grew up, because I fear water. I don't go into water. So how would I know? Even if it had happened in my town, how would I know who did it? The army said they know the people, they are going after them. How will anybody know? How would even innocent people, where were those people even killed? We don't even believe that they were killed in Okwama, even though their bodies were found there. It's a river. River flow downstream. Every decayed body always float, and it float according to the direction of the current. So they
could have flowed from somewhere else.
From somewhere, they have been killed somewhere, and when they flew down, and at the time they traced them, it was at Okwama when they traced them. Because they couldn't have been killed there, and then therefore see remaining that simple, whereas there is current. The current is flowing downstream into going to go so many miles to the Atlantic Ocean.
So what is the alternative approach to the development of Niger Deltas? What is your alternative approach?
The alternative approach is this, which I've said over and over, and I've forwarded to some governments before. The bureaucracy set up as NDDC is too weedy to handle the needs of the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta development should be handled like the martial arts for Europe after the Second World War. What you need experts to find and identify the exact things that the Niger Delta needs for development. When you identify them, roads, good waterways, good roads, good waterway, rail, hospitals, electricity, education, education things. When you have identified them, how many kilometers of road do you need to take over the place? You know how many. How many kilometers of railway line? How many healthcare centers you need? The waterways. You mark all of them out. When you have given them out, you have agreed, identified them out. You set up just a five-man council committee in the presidency. The contracts for this thing will be awarded and a timeline put over the years. If it's going to take 30 years, it's going to take 40 years. You mark the timeline. And when the contracts are given out, there are two countries in the world that specialize most in wetland development: China and Holland. So you get contractors and they agree you can do that, and this amount you can do. Then dedicate a quota of your oil production to that project. You dedicate it. The five-man committee, five-man board, or whatever you call it, in the presidency now is saddled with monitoring the performance of the contractors. So they will have it for social year to social year. This is how many kilometers you are supposed to cover. This is how many heads this contractor is supposed to. This is how many years. So you monitor it. I also make sure that as the contractors are going, they're also recruiting the locals along with that. So when you reach that milestone, you tick it. The checklist, you tick it. I tell you, if you do that dedicatedly, you don't know the bureaucracy you have. If you see the bureaucracy of NDDC, 80% of the money dedicated for it goes for the bureaucracy and for appeasing traditional rulers. And,
are you indirectly saying that the NDDC is just a figurehead?
I'm not saying a figurehead cannot achieve what we need. It has been there for how many years? We started from Diffree and went to Ompadek. I went to, how many roads have they done? East-West Road is still lying there. How many? The next thing they will come out and say, oh, you sponsor graduate abroad to go and do this. Remember one time, one of the directors, or was it the chairman at that time, said he spent 800 million naira for native doctor to make sure that he remain in office. He confessed now, we should mention their name, records are there. 800 million naira for native doctor for him to remain in office. Not to talk how much they give to traditional rulers every year.
All right.
So it will work. It just be there. With maybe big buildings all over there, people coming in and out. How many of the contracts are they really completing? You have to satisfy the governors. You have to say people who work there are richer. Let them show us exactly what they have done, the roads they have consulted, concrete roads, good roads, really have ever. Let them tell us how many water projects they have done for the areas that are polluted by oil exploration. How many water systems they have done there? How many canals, how many waterways have they opened enough?
All right, Sleek Oshare, it's always a pleasure having this talk with you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this conversation for today. We've been chatting with Sleek Oshare, who is an oil and gas expert, and he is also the convener of the alternative approach to the development of the Niger Delta region. And it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you and yours. God bless Nigeria. My name is Annabel Orji. Have yourselves a very wonderful weekend. Good morning.